Hello friends, welcome to channel. So in today's lecture we are going to start the preparation for UGC NET exam that is going to be conducted in 2021. So through this lecture we will try to cover all the unit of social work paper 2. So this is the first lecture. So in this lecture we are going to cover the some chapter from the unit 1, nature and development of social work, समाज कार्य की प्रकृति एंड उसका विकास. सो इसको आज हम लोग पढ़ेंगे. So in today's lecture we will cover the first chapter, that is social work definition, scope, the principle of social work and the nature of social work, and what is the goal of social work and what is the process which involve in the social work. So all the chapter we will cover in this video. So let's start. So before begin, it is all about me, and you can mail me for any query at socialwork.eportal@gmail.com, and also please join the Telegram channel so you will get all important notification that I've shared in this Telegram channel. So now let's start. So first we will try to understand the meaning and the definition of social work. समाज कार्य का मीनिंग क्या है, उसकी डेफिनेशन क्या है, उसको अंडरस्टैंड करने की कोशिश करते हैं. सो लेट अंडरस्टैंड द मीनिंग ऑफ सोशल वर्क. समाज कार्य का मतलब क्या होता है. समाज कार्य बेसिकली विच इंक्लूड डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ वर्क लाइक humanitarian rescue missions, helping families to gain access of government assistance programs. सरकार के द्वारा चलाए जाते जितने भी स्कीम्स या उनके द्वारा कोई अनुदान दिया जाता है तो उन सभी अनुदानों को लोगों तक पहुंचाने के लिए मदद करना समाज कार्य कहलाता है. एंड द वन कॉमन थिंग इन सोशल वर्क इज दैट बेसिकली इट इज़ स्ट्राइव फॉर द बेटरमेंट ऑफ द लाइफ ऑफ द पीपल्स. लोगों के जीवन को बेहतर बनाने के लिए समाज कार्य किया जाता है और समाज कार्य के माध्यम से प्रयास किया जाता है कि लोगों की लाइफ को, उनके स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लाइफ को बेटर बनाया जाए. एंड यू कैन से इन अदर वर्ड बेसिकली सोशल वर्क इज द वर्क विच इन्वॉल्व गिविंग द हेल्प and giving the advice, counseling to the people for their various problems like family problems, financial problems, social problems, like a person which needed the medical health support. So social worker provide the interface between the hospital doctors to the client, and also providing the help for the needy people's children's, and providing the counseling to the family for family problems. So all these work which done under the social work. Now let understand the definition which is given by some scholars. So basically definition is not more important for the exam perspective because exam में definition नहीं पूछी जाती है. So just for information you should know about the definition. So according to the Anderson, यहाँ पर एंडरसन के द्वारा बताया गया कि सोशल वर्क बेसिकली इज टू अटेंड एंड सेटिस्फाइंग द रिलेशन एंड स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लाइफ ऑफ पीपल एज पर द कैपेसिटी एंड द विश. उनकी जितनी काबिलियत है, उनकी जितनी कैपेसिटी है, उनकी जितनी विश है, उसके इच्छाओं के अनुसार उसको मदद करना ताकि वो अपने समुदाय में एक अच्छा सामंजस्य स्थापित कर पाए लोगों के बीच में. एंड दे कैन मेक द गुड रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द पीपल एंड ऑल्सो सो दैट दे कैन अटेंड द स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लाइफ. So it is for the individuals, group, community or the society. Now the next definition which is given by the Stroop. So according to the Stroop, the social work is an art is to bring the various resources for the individual, for the group or the community that is needed, all these resources. So all these resources can be obtained by the application of different scientific methods for the helping the people so they can help themselves. So this is the definition given by the Stroop. Now the next let's understand the scope of social work. समाज कार्य का स्कोप क्या है उसको अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं. So you can see in the picture so different types of work under the social work done by the social workers. So like they provide the help for the needy peoples like old people, and for the handicapped, also for the family they provide the counselings, and for the social security. So all these works which cover under the social work. So basically social work deal with the all the services which related to the human and their welfares. So the concern of social work is to help the people who are needed. जिनको हेल्प की ज़रूरत है उनको हेल्प प्रोवाइड कराना. सो उनमें एक कैपेसिटी डेवलप हो पाए ताकि वो अपनी समस्याओं से खुद ही सुलझा सके, अपनी समस्याओं को डील कर पाए. सो बेसिकली टू डेवलप द कैपेसिटी इन द पीपल सो दैट दे कैन सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम्स बाय देमसेल्फ. सो इट इज़ एन आर्ट एंड इट इज़ एन साइंस. So for this, the social workers should have some skills like they should know how to establish the positive relationship between the client, and how to interview and report the writing. It's like any client have some types of problems, so then how to deal with these problems. then how to interview the person, and how to report, analyze the report. So all these things, there are so many steps which involve in this social work. So all the steps like assessment of the problems, planning for the solutions of its problems, and how to implement the plan to resolve this problem, to evaluate the problem. So all these tasks which involve in the social work. So all these skills should have the social workers just to solve the problem of any individuals or community or group or family. So this is the scope of social work. And also the scope of social work will change according to the condition or social condition. And when the social condition will change, the scope of social work also change. And the primary aim of social work basically is to solve the साइकोसोशल प्रॉब्लम. साइकोसोशल प्रॉब्लम मीन्स जो मनोसामाजिक समस्या होती है किसी भी इंडिविजुअल की, कि जिसकी वजह से वो सामाजिक के जो एक संबंध होता है समाज के बीच में, उसमें उसको बनाने में काफ़ी समस्या होती है, काफ़ी डिफिकल्टीज होती है. सो द मेन पर्पज, द मेन एम ऑफ द सोशल वर्क इज टू सॉल्व द साइकोसोशल प्रॉब्लम दैट इज गोइंग टू बी obstruct the advancement of the individuals in socially. So you can say that the scope of social work basically is very vast, and it deal with the almost all the section of society, like a public assistance, social insurance, and welfare for the needy peoples like children, women, families, communities, labor, and different level persons, correctional services. So all these things which come under the social work. Now the next, that is nature of social work. समाज कार्य का नेचर किस प्रकार का है उसको अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं. जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि ये द इंडिविजुअल दैट इज सीकिंग फॉर द हेल्प दैट इज नोन एज क्लाइंट. क्लाइंट इसको बोला जाता है जिनको मदद की ज़रूरत होती है. एंड अ पर्सन हु इज़ गिविंग द हेल्प दैट इज नोन एज सोशल वर्कर्स. जिनके द्वारा मदद दी जाती है, हेल्प दी जाती है, उनको काउंसलिंग प्रोवाइड की जाती है, हेल्प करी जाती है, तो उनको बोलते हैं सोशल वर्कर. सो सच टाइप्स ऑफ एक्टिविटी विच इन्वॉल्व दैट इज नोन एज सोशल केस वर्क्स. So different types of activity which involved in the social work, that is known as the social case work, social group work, and so but the client should have some motivation to self improvement and readiness to accept the help of the social worker, because social worker only provide the aid and counseling and support system just to develop the capacity in the client so that they can solve their problems and improve their situations. And the social worker they doesn't impose the any advice or the solution to the client. They are just to respect the client's right of determination. And social workers should not feel superior. They should show the empathy to the client. So they should try to understand the client situation, what kind of problems they are facing, and they should also put themselves in the situation of the client so they can easily understand the basic problems and how to deal with these problems. And also in the same time they should not feel like a client. The social worker must understand and accept the feeling of the client. Client जैसा भी उसकी जो भी feeling है, thoughts है, उसको understand करना चाहिए और उसके according उसको advice, उसको सलाह देनी चाहिए, and so that they can solve the problem by themselves. तो जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि sometimes in disaster or natural calamities, so many people just start to donating the money, cash for the needy peoples, but they can't directly contact with these victims or the needy people. So the social worker basically work as an interface or the medium between the client and the person who is donating money or the any cash, just provide the support to the needy peoples. So social worker basically interact face to face with the client, interface, intermediate between the client and the person who is providing the help. And so basically the involvement of social worker always very important for solving the very difficult situations, problems. So different types of the problems the people face, the social workers should continue to respond according to their situations, their problems, to deal with these problems, just to overcome from these effect of the problems. Now the next, that is principle of social work. समाज कार्य के principle क्या होते हैं? So basically principle is a guiding belief, or you can say is a statement just to what to do and what not to do. आपको क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, ये पता चलता है आपको सिद्धांत से, किस सिद्धांत को आपको फॉलो करना है, क्या आपको करना है, क्या नहीं. सो ऑल दीज प्रिंसिपल विच इन्वॉल्व इन दी सोशल वर्क दैट वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी. लाइक द फर्स्ट, दैट इज प्रिंसिपल ऑफ एक्सेप्टेंस. सो व्हाट इज एक्सेप्टेंस? सो बेसिकली द एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स, अ पर्सन, अ क्लाइंट that needed the help. So the social worker should accept the individual with their his limitations. उसकी जो भी समस्या है, जो भी उसकी limitations है, उसके according उसको accept करना चाहिए इंडिविजुअल्स को, and does not condemn or feel hostile behavior towards the client because his behavior different from the approved one. Like a normal person होता है, उसका behavior अलग होता है, but a person which have some problems mental health problems or anything, so he behave in different way. So the social worker should have the principle just to accept the person as in the original form. So this is the principle of acceptance. Now the next, that is principle of individualization. So what is the individualization? That the social work believe in the uniqueness of individuals. हर एक इंडिविजुअल में कुछ उसकी यूनिकनेस होती है, उसकी जो समस्या है, प्रॉब्लम है, वो भी डिफरेंट होगी. सो द मेन फोकस ऑफ सोशल वर्कर इज टू focus on the main problem, the specific problem of any individuals, and give them advice and support system according to their problems. Now the next principle, that is principle of communication. So a proper communication are always a very crucial in social work relationship, because a good communication can make it comfortable for the client just to express their thoughts, their feelings, their facts with the social worker, so they can easily handle the problem. So the communication always become the very important part in this process. Now the next principle of confidentiality, that means the confidential things which is shared by the client to the social worker. So the social worker should kept secret all the information which is shared by the client. Like in the family conflict, the family member generally share the information to the social worker. So the social worker should keep the information and don't share to anybody or any groups or any agency. And if they want to share, they first take the consent from the client. Now the next, that is principle of self-determination. That basically this principle emphasis on the client right to determination. आत्मनिर्णय लेने का अधिकार जो होता है, उसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं कि उसके पास अधिकार होता है किसी भी इंडिविजुअल के पास कि उसके लिए क्या सही है, क्या गलत है, वो खुद ही डिसाइड करे. सो ईच इंडिविजुअल हैव द राइट टू डिसाइड व्हाट इज अप्रोप्रिएट फॉर हिम और नॉट. एंड द सोशल वर्कर शुड सपोर्ट एंड गाइड द क्लाइंट टू डेवलप द इंसाइट, ओके, एंड आल्सो एनकरेज एंड इन्वॉल्व इन हिम टू टेक डिसीजन दैट इज गुड एंड एक्सेप्टेड टू हिम. So this is the principle, that is self-determination. And next, that is principle of non-judgmental attitudes. So basically this principle presume that the social worker should begin with the professional relationship, and they should make the professional relationship with the client, and he should not form any opinion about the client. client के बारे में किसी प्रकार का opinion नहीं form करना चाहिए, either good or bad or worse or unworthy, any kind of thought they should not create or opinion. So basically this enable the worker and the client feel free to develop understanding of each other. एक दूसरे को समझने में आसानी होती है अगर biasness नहीं होती है रिश्ते के बीच में. So this relationship should be very professional. Next, that is principle of control emotional involvement. That means जो social worker है उसको अपने emotions को control करना चाहिए, biasness नहीं होनी चाहिए उसके काम में, and they should not indulge too much to personally in the client difficult situations or to be very objective. So basically social worker would maintain the reasonable emotional distance between the client and social worker, even showing the sympathy. Now the next, the goal of social work. समाज कार्य के क्या क्या गोल हैं उसको देख लेते हैं. Like empower the peoples, लोगों को empower करना individually or collectively just to utilize their one problem solving and coping capacity more effectively, and support a proactive position with regard to the social and economic policy development just to prevent the problems for individuals or society or community from occurring. So किसी प्रकार की समस्या अगर घटित होने वाली है तो उसके पहले उसको रोकने के लिए सामाजिक आर्थिक जो नीति विकास संबंध होते हैं उसमें सक्रिय रूप से भागीदारी करना और कोशिश करना कि इस प्रकार की जो समस्याएं होती हैं उसको सॉल्व किया जा सके. तो ये वन ऑफ द गोल है सोशल वर्क का. नेक्स्ट है अफोर्ड द इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ प्रोफेशन. ऑफकोर्स प्रोफेशन में इंटीग्रिटी होनी चाहिए इन ऑल एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द सोशल वर्क, एंड एस्टैब्लिश द लिंकेज बिटवीन द पीपल एंड द सोसाइटल रिसोर्सेज. जो भी समाज के रिसोर्सेज हैं उसको और लोगों के बीच में एक सामंजस्य स्थापित करना चाहिए समाज का सोशल वर्कर, सो दैट पीपल कैन यूज देयर वन रिसोर्सेज टू डेवलप द insight and they can solve their one problems and they improve the quality of life and facilitate the responsiveness of our institutional resources system to meet the health and human service needs. जो भी उनकी ज़रूरतें हैं उसको मीट करने के लिए जो भी इंस्टीट्यूशनल रिसोर्सेज हैं उसको फैसिलिटेट करना चाहिए, एंड प्रमोट सोशल जस्टिस एंड इक्वालिटी ऑफ ऑल द पीपल्स. सो इट इज़ वेरी यूनिवर्सल. सो समाज कार्य प्रोफेशन में रिसर्च एंड एवोल्यूशन के माध्यम से नॉलेज में कंट्रीब्यूट करना. So this is one of the goal of the social work and employ the educational strategy for the prevention and resolution of the problem. समस्याओं को सुलझाने के लिए, उनको रोकने के लिए एजुकेशनल जो स्ट्रैटेजी है उनको एम्प्लॉय करना चाहिए, उनका यूज करना चाहिए just to solve the problem. All these goals of social work. Now the next, that is social work process. So what is the process which involved in the social work? So let's understand. Like a social work process comprises a sequence of actions and tasks. So you can see the picture and you can easily understand the process. Like if a client have any problems, so just to solve the problems, the social worker start assessment of the problems. So first that is assessment. Then they start planning just to solve the problem and find out the cause of the problems, and they implement the plan and intervene with these problems. And also then after the intervention they follow the some approach just to solve the problems, and then later they evaluate the problem, and if the problem is solved then it's okay, then they terminate the task or the action. Otherwise they will again start from the assessment of the problem. So this is the whole process which involved in the social work. So you can just see this picture and you can easily understand what is the process and what is the process which involved in the social work. So this is the process of social work which involve different types of tasks and the actions like assessment, planning, intervention, evaluation, termination. So all these tasks which involve in the social work process. So आज के लिए इतना ही. So thank you very much for discussion for today, and I hope आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया होगा. Then kindly please subscribe the channel, and also please share with your friends this video so that they can get the benefit of this lecture. And so in the first lecture we have covered the first chapter, that is what is the social work and what is the definition, scope, nature, process, goal. So we just cover these topic, and in the next video we will try to cover the second chapter of the unit 1. So through these lecture we will try to cover all the chapter, all the unit of social work. So stay tuned with the channel, and thank you very much.